I started in the language industry at Bromberg and Associates, actually, which is the current company I am part of. My background is in linguistics, as well as my minor in computer science, because I was mostly interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence in relation to languages. As far as how long I've been interested in languages, pretty much my whole life. I am a native Arabic speaker, and I immigrated to the United States when I was a teenager. And I've been interpreting and translating for my family and my community ever since. And I just started doing it in a professional setting at Bromberg, but I was exposed to that my entire life before that. I think some people have a certain personality that allows them to, I don't want to say multitask, because I don't fully believe in like multitasking. I think it's more about prioritizing tasks and arranging your time accordingly to be able to uh, consecutively accomplish tasks that are more in sync than doing different tasks that are very unrelated. In a close timeline, so arranging tasks in a way that makes sense because they're closely related, so you can move from one task to another easily, and knowing the level of brain capacity these tasks are going to take from you. So if I have to sit down and review a manual and maybe do some editing, I will block time in my calendar to do that, because I actually need to focus. I need to read and internalize this information so I can think of the best way this can be presented. Are my edits relevant? There's been times where I would sit and read something and I would think, oh, this doesn't need editing, because I'm not fully focused. I'm not really internalizing that information to really come up with the best way that this can be presented. And then sometimes I'd sit down and read it again, and then I would change things in it, just because I am much more focused. So for me, as far as productivity comes, everyone can be productive. You just have to find your flow, and different people have different workflows. So some people can wake up in the morning and have a to-do list and go through that to-do list, and that's how they operate. And some people don't operate that way. Some people need to group tasks, and they need to finish this group of tasks first and then move on to the next. So there's not a right answer to that. But what I can say is there are a lot of tools out there in the world today that can help with productivity. If we just look at something we all use, which is Office 365 or Gmail or the Google Suite, and these all offer a lot of productivity tools, from booking options to to-do lists to actually being able to collaborate on a document with your colleagues. In my opinion, Leo is one of the best conferences in the industry, and from the perspective of training and learning and development. Why? Because I believe that the way we have structured that conference is so smart. Leo has workshops, so when you're coming into that conference, you're learning some hands-on skills that you can actually take with you after the conference is over. You're learning how to, if you're a translator, how can you become maybe a subtitler or a voiceover artist? Even as an interpreter, how can you move from consecutive interpreting to simultaneous interpreting? Or if I want to get legally certified, how do I go about doing that? The other thing that's really important is the speakers and presenters that Leo picks in every installment. Every installment has a theme. That's always been the case. And speakers and presentations are picked around that theme, which means that they always have the most interesting people with the most interesting experiences. And these people are talking about real life settings, practical knowledge, not just theoretical or ideological ideas that this is what we think it should be like, but what it's actually like, and how can you navigate that world and those real life challenges. That's a very tough question because, like I said, this conference, it's a package. It's the whole deal. It's that you have to experience. But if I had to pick, there are two panels that are always a staple in in those conferences, and they've always been part of all installments. It's the future panel and it's the legal panel. The future panel is because every time it is so interesting, there's a different topic, or it builds on the topic that was discussed in a previous installment. So it's not just giving you knowledge and leaving you with it. We're also following up on that and saying, so where we're at from last time, where we're at today. The future panel has been instrumental at offering a lot of comfort to people through the pandemic and through some real uncertain times about where the industry is heading, what to expect, and what should we do in the meantime to make sure that we're contributing and we're doing our part. So it's very impactful panel because it actually looks at the world around us and how that is affecting us as linguists and as an industry. And it also gives some direction as to where we need to go next. The legal panel is also one of my favorites, and that's because you're talking about laws and regulations and Title VI and Civil Rights Acts and American with Disabilities Acts in the United States, and those are not easy topics to navigate usually. It's so practical where you can actually go and apply that in your work every single day. We've covered all types of topics in these panels, from COVID to HIPAA to civil rights to everything, interpreting in medical setting, what are hospitals doing during the pandemic, pre and post. So that is a very powerful panel as well. And the setup of that panel is really well done, and the delivery is really well done.